everyone. My name's Tara, and I'm the Communications Associate here at Progress, Texas.
Hey, I'm Sam Robles, and I'm the Advocacy Director here at Progress. And this is the best of the week.
Yes, and we have a lot to talk about today. We're very excited. Obviously, some announcements just came down and a lot happened. So we're going to dive into that right now and kind of see really what we're working on here at Progress, Texas and what we have to talk about. So Sam, do you want to start?
Yeah, we can just jump right in. Today, I think the people of our country and elected officials dealt with Donald Trump. He could have come out, he talked about how he's reopening the government, he wants a wall, but I think what really shows is that this was an effort on the federal workers who had to deal with so much during these last 35 days, the people who held their elected officials accountable, and the people who were in there making the deals for us.
So true. I think something to keep in mind is that this is a temporary reopening of the government, and so we do have a little bit to be, I don't want to say concerned, but to just be watchful of, I think, is that Trump is already threatening families again. So by threatening and saying well, if I don't get a deal by February 15th, I'm going to shut it down again.
It's such a disrespect to the workers who've had to deal with this for so long, and to say, it's just like a notice for what's to come.
So true, so true. And as you said, these are everyday people who have had to sacrifice so much because of Trump, and all of a sudden, they get some relief, I hope, as soon as possible, but these are also lifetime things that these people have had to give up. Some people are having to space out their medications, some people have had to forego medical treatments, and I don't think that Trump realizes how much these people have suffered.
Yeah, there's parents out there who, there was something about this couple that gave up food so they would be able to buy enough food for their newborn. These are not the conditions Americans should be living under, or any people that live in our country. And I think it really just goes back to the work that we've all done together up to this point, to say no to the wall, to say no to Donald Trump's anti-immigrant policies that continue to hurt this country and our families. And I think from here, we just gotta keep on holding this guy accountable and hold our elected officials accountable to make sure they make the right vote for us as this continues.
So true. And again, I do want to say, if you have any questions for us about the shutdown or about anything else we talk about, please make sure to comment below and we will answer them as we go. Something else that we wanted to talk about today, which was a big win for progressives, I think, and it's just not fun to watch because we obviously have a really big problem with our current administration, but the Roger Stone indictment.
His cronies are coming down.
Yes.
Just more and more. This investigation is coming closer and closer and closer to Trump.
Yes, and I would say if you're keeping track at home and kind of seeing all the different people, you can mark this one off as one more on your bingo card, and we'll kind of see who comes next too, and we'll see what happens with Roger Stone as well, and what surfaces.
And make no doubt, this announcement of reopening the government and re-threatening the country with a border wall is just to distract from that very indictment this morning.
So true, so true. We were talking about that earlier, that this is no coincidence that the government was reopened today, that Trump had this large announcement and press release today. All of a sudden, all of the media attention is on the government reopening, as it should be, because it's very newsworthy, but all of a sudden our view is shifted away from Roger Stone and away from the Trump administration and away from all of the lies and...
Yeah, as it did 35 days ago.
Yes.
When we were closer into this investigation.
So true.
This is not, we should just be aware that this is happening and should be ready to take action and keep on. We've been doing some really great stuff here at Progress, Texas, to keep on showing our resistance against the border wall, and making sure that this country does not uplift a monument to anti-immigrant policies.
So true. Yes. So we are working on a campaign right now. We're calling it just No Border Wall. And I think that is something to remember, is that even though we are against a border wall, we also cannot let the government shut down again. We can't do that to our federal workers. And so no matter what, those are the two things that we cannot do, is let the government shut down again, or let a border wall be built or be approved, funded, any of those words. So the ways to take action are, if you want to call your reps, if you want to send emails, tweet to them. I think that's a great way to kind of get their attention. If a lot of people start tweeting to Ted Cruz and John Cornyn and all of our elected officials here in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other ideas?
Yeah, well, and I think, we might not be living on the border, but we all have a responsibility in making sure that this wall does not come up, right? And so I grew up along the border. I know Tara's also a Valley girl, from the Rio Grande Valley, and so this is incredibly important to us. Though we might not live there, our roots are there, our homes are there.
So true, so true. So I do want to jump into our legislative update
Let's
for
jump
the week.
in.
Sam, what are we looking at the Texas legislature?
So we have some exciting news from our partners at the Lilith Fund, T-Fund, and the Frontera Fund. Cheryl Cole, State Rep Cheryl Cole from the Austin area, filed Rosie's Law this week, and it's a bill. It's the first of its kind that would allow women who are in Texas Medicaid programs to receive coverage for abortion care. And so this would primarily cover low-income women who are already, there's so many barriers, right, to get access to abortion care in Texas, and this will just help women get closer to getting the kind of care that they need for their life and for their bodies.
So true. And I think we've written about it before. Rosie's resolution was passed by the city of Austin and by Travis County. They were the first two kind of like municipal entities in the state to take action when it comes to Rosie's case. And so it's really exciting to see this proposed at a statewide level and the impact that could have for women and for people seeking abortion access is monumental. I think we were talking especially for women who live in more rural areas who don't have that access, women who are Black and brown, low-income women, like people just seeking abortions.
Yeah, so for some background for all y'all, Rosie Jimenez was a young Chicana from McAllen, Texas, who was seeking an abortion in the late 70s, and she was not able to get access to an abortion and had to use another route to get that access and died in the process of it. And so this really speaks to the dangers that women put themselves in because there's no access and because lawmakers have taken that access away from women. And so this is an amazing bill that we're definitely going to be keeping an eye on and help advocating for at the Capitol, and we'll be bringing those opportunities closer to you as well.
Definitely. And we also got House committee assignments this week. So how do those help us as progressives?
Absolutely. We got a couple awesome progressives onto the House committees, and this is a multitude of factors, right? We really came out in the midterms this year and showed conservatives and people at the state house and in the state capitol kind of what they're dealing with when they make policies and decisions for people that don't really reflect our values as Texans. And so this is just another sign of how those elections mattered and how more and more progressives are taking more control in the House, and I think it's going to lead to some really great opportunities for progressives to really shape the policies of the state.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see
it's
what
gonna
happens.
be great.
And I know that you're going to be at the Capitol a lot for us, and so I'm excited. We talked about maybe having you do some live videos from the Capitol and do some updates, and I think that would be so exciting.
Any questions y'all have, please ask, and we'll make sure to get those answered while we're at the Capitol.
Yeah, definitely. I do want to quickly sidetrack to some things that we have coming up here in Texas. In El Paso tomorrow, actually, there is, if you're really kind of fired up about the border wall, fired up about Trump's just announcement that he made, there is a march against the wall and for immigration reform in El Paso. Now is the time, definitely. I know tonight ACLU of Texas is hosting kind of like a sign-making event if you are in the El Paso area, but the march itself is hosted by the Border Network for Human Rights, and so we're really excited to see photos from that. I don't think I will make it to El Paso.
So the Border Network for Human Rights, I don't know if y'all have seen how there's been stories and photos of people opening up where they'll open up the actual border and there's a fence there that people open up so that families can reunite and hug and like just reconnect, because like even just like physical touch from the people you love means so much, right?
It does.
And so they do this. It's an amazing event that they do on the border every year, and that's who's holding the march this tomorrow in El Paso. They do amazing work.
That's very cool. And then we do want to draw attention on Tuesday, if you are in El Paso or if you are in Houston, you have a special election on Tuesday.
Go out and vote.
It's so important that you vote. You're voting for 2 seats on the Texas legislature. El Paso Pickett was a Democrat. He was one of the longest serving legislatures in El Paso lawmakers, and he actually had to step down because of some health concerns. And so we are looking for hopefully a really good progressive voice to fill that seat. And in Houston, Carol Alvarado won a promotion from the voters to the Senate. And so we are looking for, again, another progressive to be like, yes, I'm going to be your next representative for the Houston area.
And as you all look at the candidates and vote in the special election, be ready to pick someone who's going to come in there and hit the ground running to fight for the issues that are important to you and your neighbors. This is such an important election. And we have more seats in the House, right? We got to fill them up and make sure our progressives get in there.
Definitely. And looking ahead even a little bit further, on February 12th, San Antonio, you have a special election for a txlege seat as well. Justin Rodriguez, the Democrat, is stepping down to serve on the as a Bexar County Commissioner. So we're, again, looking for another progressive to fill that seat. But if you're in San Antonio and don't quite know who to vote for yet, there is a candidate forum on Monday hosted by a bunch of progressive organizations.
Awesome.
So check that out at our Best of the Week email.
So what we like to include in our Best of the Week emails is our facepalm. And this week's facepalm goes to State Rep Mike Lang, who is a Republican member of the Freedom Caucus from Granbury, Texas. And
by Abilene, in between like Abilene and Dallas area.
Up
for
North
Texas people.
And he gave us a shout out this week for our Bills to be Watching, the Good, Bad, and the Ugly that was put together by our staff member, Wesley Story. He went through over 1,000 bills, so you wouldn't have to, and picked out the good, bad, and the ugly. And since he gave us a shout out this week, it's only fair that we give him a shout out too.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and that's kind of it for us for Best of the Week this week. Do you have anything else?
I think keep an eye on this. Keep an eye on the good, bad, and ugly. We're going to be updating it as more bills get filed, as bills go into committee hearing, and some might live, some might die. And we want to make sure you have all the information that you need, that you have a legislator's information or a way to call to action. So keep an eye on that blog. We'll be posting it in this video.
So true, yes. And if there's anything we ever miss, anything you want to give a shout out for, any events you have coming up in your community, let us know below as well, and we'll be sure to include those in our email that goes out right after this. And tune in next Friday.
Yeah, we'll be here next Friday.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank
See you later.
Have a good weekend.